Hello, everybody. I'm John LaDrew at Melco International. Thanks for joining us. We are talking today about marketing and branding questions for your business. And if we'll wait a minute or two for some people to jump in, but I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about today. I'm sure you know already. However, today we have Jordan and Lena from OESD. This is our Melco marketing team. They're in Oklahoma. These guys know the answers to your questions, and it's going to be fun to talk about this topic today.
Cool.
Yeah, Jordan,
Thank
Lena,
you, John.
anything you want to say before we get started?
Yeah, I mean, what more of a relevant topic than as we get ready to head into back to school and holiday season to make sure that you're putting your business and your products ultimately in front of your customers. And that's really our goal, for all of us to kind of learn from each other, to share some things that we've seen working, and just make sure that you are set up for success this year. So, yeah, thank you. We're glad to be here. We're here in Oklahoma City. And, of course, John is in Denver.
Colorado.
You are all around the world. So let's, to mention, whether you're watching us on Facebook or you're watching us on YouTube, there is a chat box. We do want to take your questions. We also got a lot of questions emailed in to us, and so we'll kind of run through those as well. But if you have something you want to ask or you want to follow up on a particular topic, please do put that in the chat. We'd be happy to chat with you as well. So with that, John, let's kick it off with the first question that we had submitted to us from one of our someone before the broadcast.
Yes, one of our first email question was, which is an interesting one. I think this is how a lot of people get started, and they don't necessarily have a lot of followers. So the first question is, I don't have a lot of friends or followers on social media, and I want to get into holiday season embroidery, but how do I get noticed if I don't have any followers?
That's a good question.
What do you guys think?
So I also don't have a lot of friends. I feel your pain, but I'm sure you don't have a lot of friends on probably Facebook, right, or followers on Instagram, and so growing that, of course, brings more awareness. And social media, those companies are in business to make money, and so they've made it more and more difficult for brands to be in front of their customers without paying for that placement. So I'll let Lena talk a little bit about kind of some of the organic ways that you can gain followers or gain awareness, and then I'll talk about some of the paid ways.
Yeah, so one of the things that you can do is really get involved with groups on Facebook that might have something to do with your products, different groups. So, you can find some mom groups, you can find kind of local groups that you can kind of start marketing your products to that way. To kind of get your name out there, and it's people that are looking for your products. So, Jordan mentioned back to school, you kind of get in on those mom groups. If you're making backpacks, if you're making jerseys, that kind of thing, that makes it incredibly helpful as far as that goes. A couple of the other ways that you can, kind of grow your following organically is to on social media is to kind of reach out to your friends, even if you don't have them liked on Facebook. But you can reach out to them in person and see if they're willing to share your stuff on their social media pages. That's huge because that definitely builds credibility with, because they know you, they know the quality of products that you produce. And so they're going to put out a good word for you.
Yeah. So a couple takeaways from that, right? So engagement's key. And so there's basically this is a giant math equation. And so what the social networks are looking for is that they're looking for content that they think other people that look like you and your friends would like. So when you do a post, ask a question or offer like a prize to somebody, tag a friend was a big thing for about the last 12 months. What you're looking for is to get people to engage and comment on your post. And so when you're starting off, feel free to ask your family and friends to comment and share. It's like, this is super cool. Also, the frequency of your posting is a big thing. So if you just post once a week, you're going to find that your audience is very limited. You really want to be trying to post twice a day. And even if it's just photos of cool things you've made or quick little behind the scenes snapshots of you and your business, the more you engage, the more likely you are to get promoted by the networks. So
persistence is key there, huh?
Yeah.
You just gotta go for it.
Yes. Yeah.
You're gonna do it.
And don't feel like you have to tackle every social media network at once. For those of you who've been following Melco Marketing, notice we're still not active on TikTok, and we recognize there's a big audience there. But part of that doing it right is making sure you can execute. So focus on where your customers are, where it's most likely to be profitable for you, And so I know that, for many of us, Facebook is something we're maybe starting to move on from. And that's not the primary, Instagram's growing huge popularity, TikTok, of course. But Facebook is still super relevant because of those community groups. It functions as kind of today's forums. And so that's a great way to find potential customers. And sometimes, Facebook groups, you can't go in there to start blasting about your business, right? You're going to get the ban stick. So go in there and ask questions that, lead people to inquire about your business. And so asking people for favors, asking people for help. Hey, I'm working on this thing. What do you think? Does anyone know anyone at a local school that might be interested in working on, some team jerseys? Like, asking for those connections helps people help you.
Yep,
so
that's good.
On the paid side of things, right? All social media networks are happy to take your money. So, if you have a small marketing budget and you don't have to spend a ton of money to do this, you can start doing things like a little bit of post boosting or actually taking targeted advertisements. And so just my keys on that is geo-target yourself. If you are in Phoenix, Arizona, that's a pretty big market. You might want to actually even geo-target yourself down a little bit more to maybe a particular school district in the area. Don't take the whole state of Arizona and go for a swing. Also, the same thing, you're probably less likely to get business in New York, right? As you start off, your business is typically pretty regional. It's in your local community. And so that's where you want to focus your advertising dollars. And then, of course, just be super careful of text in advertising. There's limits on how much text can go into an ad. And then the other big thing for any good marketing, of course, is have a call to action, right? Mm-hmm. So super cool to post something new that you're doing, but tag that with a like, hey, want to do this for your own business or want to get this before school starts? Connect with us, right? And have that go to an easy place for them to contact you. I kind of want to segue off that real quick because something that's been real top of mind for me lately is, websites are challenging. Websites take a lot of work to maintain. And I recognize that for many of us, small business owning a small business means that you're everything from the CFO, CEO, you're the janitor, you're the technician, you're also the machine operator, and then you're the sales rep, right? And so you're playing all these different roles. And sometimes the website content gets old. So I just want to encourage you, at the bare minimum, make sure that the contact information on your website is accurate, up to date, and easily findable. And even if that's something as simple as just a contact form that sends an email to you or your phone number on there for a call to action, just make sure you've got that updated. So many businesses just use like a Facebook account or something for their business, and it just doesn't necessarily put off the same level of professionalism. Plus, sometimes they just want to call you and they can't find your phone number. So
yeah, and to kind of segue off that back into social media, make sure that you're really optimizing your social media pages. Put your contact information on there, put your hours on there, put what you offer on there, fill out your about form. It really helps build credibility. And if you have people that have bought from you before, definitely have them go back and give you a review because that helps with the engagement as well.
Yes. So let's talk Google for a second. Register for your Google My Business page. Mm-hmm. That allows you to make sure that when someone searches for your business, they can find your phone number, right? That you control what services you offer. People are looking for embroidery businesses, and when they search for it, if you're local and you're registered as a business, your information is going to come up. Kind of funny story on that. Melco, our sister company is OESD. It is a consumer embroidery design company, right? They make beautiful designs and stabilizer and thread. And so there's not really a category in Google My Business for, embroidery design manufacturer. There's just embroidery business. And we get foot traffic constantly to our office for people who've looked for an embroidery business here in Oklahoma City and are just coming in the door thinking, hey, I can get something embroidered here. Question all the time. It's like the business is there to get, you just have to have that page registered. And they send you a postcard to the address on file to kind of prove you're you. It has a code on it. You have to type it in. So it is a 2-step registration process. Super important to do that though.
And it takes 2 minutes of your day. I'm just going to say it takes no time. I mean, it takes 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But you're going to get people coming in the door from that. So just make sure that you use it.
You get bona fide with Google. That's what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So just want to remind all the viewers, drop your questions in the comment section and we'll jump on them and throw them out there. But there is a question to kind of follow up to what you guys were talking about, Google.
Cool.
I want to address creating a business name. And I had some thoughts on that and tell me if it's relevant. You want maybe a business name that it would be a Google search term, right?
Go.
Okay. Yeah. So, as Johnny said, your name means a lot more than you think it does. So it's kind of really thinking about your brand and what you're selling and really how you want to be portrayed to your customers, and what it is that you do. So acronyms are great. I mean, if you want to add your initials in there or say your name's Johnny, Johnny's embroidery business, those kind of things, but you want to make it relevant. I mean, for an embroidery business, you're not going to have, a name like Ford Motor Company, within your, in your business. You're not going to have something that was a terrible
first one that came to
yeah,
mind.
it was. I don't know. But you're not going to have Johnny's Pool Systems or Johnny's, whatever it might be. You want to make sure that it's relevant to your business and what you're providing your customers.
And memorable.
There's a company in Denver. The name of the company is Denver Screen Print and Embroidery. Any guesses on what they do?
Yep, exactly. Well, and that's the trick, right? Like here in OKC, there's Simply Tees. Anybody guess what they do?
Right.
Actually, they do more than T-shirts. It's good. I guess their business expanded, but right, like that certainly helps if people understand what you're doing. It used to be like everything was like a game in the phone book, right? So that's why if you ever wonder why there's so many AAA businesses, right? It's the first AAA got you the first listing in the phone book.
Right.
It's not really relevant anymore, but really important that your let's say your niche is in your business name. And I think that's a big part of marketing too. The targeting a particular area of business is a really good place to start. Kind of build your customer base, be really knowledgeable at a particular area, and then expand your business. Versus, like for example, there's a lot of really successful embroidery companies that do hats, and hats is what they do. There's a lot of really successful embroidery businesses that just focus on school, athletic booster business, and they're really good at that too. So pick one part of business you can execute and kind of, make your business plan be winning in that category.
We have a customer in California, Cal Logos. They specialize in Letterman's jackets, and they kill it.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, they do a ton of other stuff, but Letterman's jackets, Cal Logos.
What they're known for. Yeah, it's good to be known for something for sure. Yeah, and again, just a reminder: throw your questions in the chat here too. We've got a pretty good list. Thank you to all of you who submitted questions ahead of time. We will do our best to get to all of your questions over the next little bit of time. I think at some point you're going to hook us and take us off stage though. So
yeah. Oh, okay. And no shade to Ford Motor Company. That was
I think they did a pretty good job with the name. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What you got next, John?
All right. We're firing down the list here. So good question. And I think it's very relevant in our current fast trending space here. But how do I stay updated on the latest trends and changes? One question that I'm kind of involved in now. So it's a good question. How would you guys direct me to stay updated?
Why don't you start off by telling what you've been doing lately?
Oh, funny.
We'll get into it.
Put it back on me. All right. So, if you don't follow Melco on Instagram, you should, because we're making super fun reels, which were intimidating, frankly. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, making a reel and seeing that the content, the quality of reels that are out there, is a little intimidating to try to match that. For sure. Fortunately, it's not as complicated as I thought. It allows you to be creative, get some ideas out of your head, and put them on screen, and it is fun. But the way I stay updated on the trends reluctantly is to follow or is to watch reels. Frankly, I see what people are doing. It's not necessarily the best way for me. What I initially thought was the best way to spend my day. But what I do enjoy about doing it is it helps me create content that is going to be relevant and it's going to be fun to watch. So I try personally to use some creativity that is not like what everybody else is doing, but is along the lines of what everybody else is doing. So if you see a trend of people doing a specific dance, you're not likely going to see anybody at Melco doing that specific dance to that song, but we'll take that song and play on it and do something potentially relevant to that, to try to keep up with what people are watching now, and that is changing weekly.
Yeah, your point, the fast trend thing is something that's been really interesting for the industry. We certainly have an advantage in it, right? The traditional apparel companies have really long lead times. They have to bring product in, that product has to be made in a factory somewhere else. And half the time, it seems like by the time it hits the shelves in the US, it's no longer the trend. And so that's one of the really cool things about this industry is that we can, take kind of the basic materials and then customize them into whatever the current trends are as far as, self-expression and garment apparel. So, we all have a huge leg up in that, and everybody wants to be unique, and everybody wants to kind of start their own kind of like mini brand.
Yeah.
You can do that with embroidery. So
yeah. I would also say don't shy away from trying to be a trendsetter and doing something that you think will gain traction. I mean, one thing I want to say about this industry, if I can quickly, is that I think we get into this business because we're all creative. We all have ideas. We all like to make things. We all like to see things come to fruition. And that's, I mean, a lot of that is, inherent marketing as well, but use your creativity, allow your ideas and put them out there and see what's hitting, see what people come back on. I mean, you'd be surprised. You may be starting the newest trend.
Yeah. Yeah. And just being, part of this being relevant, right, is understanding what's going on in pop culture. So, as much as many of us are probably, some of us probably like it, some of us probably don't. But, understanding what the quotes are in the current TV shows and, being able to, use that in your own little market as fast as possible is really important too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And to touch on that, there's so many resources out there that help you also stay up to date on trends other than just, it's what John said, touching on, watching Instagram reels, seeing, what the latest trends are there. But there's also a lot of resources out there, like, for example, Marketing Brew. It's a good one to follow. They post a lot of trends. Social Media Examiner is another one that I like to follow because even the algorithms on social media are ever changing. And it's hard to keep up with. One day you think you got it down and the next day it's completely different. So just, reading up to, staying up to date on those, reading those articles that they put out, that's super helpful also.
Color trend is a big part too, right? So there's always a color of the year. It's put out by the Pantone organization. Sometimes there's multiple colors, but that, for us is a lot of fun to follow and kind of see. And John, you're doing a good job representing actually one of the most recent colors. Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And then Cheryl, one of our Facebook viewers, had an awesome piece of feedback here. She said for current color, she watches bath towel colors, right? What's being put on shelves. Her comment is that people change the smallest room in their house first. Also plastic laundry baskets and trash cans. So, just I think some great tips for everyone to, be up on what's happening as far as color. I didn't know I should be updating my laundry basket and trash can. I guess white and stainless steel may not be the thing anymore. So out they go.
I think I've had the same one for how many years?
You have a pink trash can?
No, it's time.
It is time. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Thank you, Cheryl. Great comment.
Yeah. So let's talk about niches. And I think that, is it niche or niche?
Niche. Yeah. It can be your niche if you want, though.
Okay. Question. Interested in specific niches. How can I kind of break ground in that? And I think that, that is a good way to start. What are you psyched on? Space, dog shows, wrestling, whatever. How can you kind of break ground in some of those niches that people might be into?
Well, not everything we're super into is commercially viable, right? So a big part of a business, like, there's two ways you do this, right? You can totally get into embroidery and do it for yourself for fun and never worry about making $1. That's totally cool too. If you want to do it to pay your bills or pay some bills or extra spending money, right? You need to make sure what you're doing is viable. So if you're super excited about something obscure that other people aren't, look at what people in your area are excited about. For example, I'm a diehard Green Bay Packer fan, and here in OKC, no one cares about professional football. And if they do, they're a Dallas Cowboy fan, right? So that's probably not the market I'm going after here in Oklahoma City. Also obviously I'm from the Midwest originally. I learned that football is a Saturday activity here, not a Sunday activity, right? Mm-hmm. College versus pro. So, that's another area that, you might have way more success with, a local sports team than trying to work with them on content versus trying to license a pro team. They're super expensive, right? The Disney license is $1 million a year, I think, minimum. So don't jump into this. You may love Disney, but Disney's not going to be your thing. And on that, just be super careful, of course, as always, on trademarks and copyrights, right? Even though they're a giant business and you think you may not be hurting them, we still don't recommend jumping on Etsy with, your Disney princess stuff. So don't do that.
It can get really expensive really fast for you.
Yes.
If they find that. So.
The other way.
Desist normally first, or is it just like you owe us $10,000?
Just depends. I mean, the famous story, there's some, pretty famous stories about people who used the, oh shoot, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, like using the win after they were making little TARDISes, and that's a no-no. So just be careful. But to that point, right? The beautiful thing about our industry over the last decade is this concept of marketplace taking off so strong. Right. It used to be you basically had a couple retail channels, right? You had your physical footprint, and then you would have your website. That was difficult and expensive to gain traffic to. And this concept of a marketplace providing you traffic's been huge. And I know there's been some controversy with Etsy recently, especially with fees and things. But marketplaces are still wonderful places to acquire customers and build your brand. You see a lot of businesses that will start as an Etsy business and then they'll move into a retail footprint, which is super cool to see that omni-channel approach of doing more than just being an Etsy business or just being a retail shop as well. So, just because if you're just seeing a lot of success today at Etsy, and you're feeling like maybe the margins aren't there, just keep pushing because that can help you launch into a retail presence at some point. So.
Next question, Lena. When you say you're doing horse tack, custom horse tack, right? Okay. And you want to
Lena's big into horses, everyone. If you don't know, yep.
Okay.
And equestrian.
Yeah, equestrian. It's same.
And a cowgirl, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you were selling custom horse tack online, would you make ads on Facebook? Would you have a Facebook store buy it now type thing, Instagram ads, selling ads on it, buying, where are you creating your store? Is it like a Shopify thing, or are you making ad or sales a store right in your social media platform and then adding and making ads that way?
That's a good question. So I would say that what I would do, the more that you can diversify yourself, the better. The more that you can get your brand name out there, the better. Mm-hmm. But again, as Jordan touched on, you're also doing everything in your business. So your time is not necessarily flowing. You don't have a whole lot of free time on your hands to, be marketing your products. So yes, social media is super beneficial. And Jordan also just touched on how, putting things on marketplace are also beneficial. Yep. So I would definitely start on a marketplace. And then I would move over to Facebook just because, like we touched on earlier, you have those groups. There are so many horse groups across Facebook that, I could jump in and be a part of, engage with. It'll really get my name out there. And then, Facebook Marketplace is a thing as well. So kind of being able to cross promote that on both your social media channel as well as onto Marketplace. It's really going to get your items out there, at a low dollar amount.
What about local shows?
I would say, yeah, definitely local horse shows. I would definitely see the cost. Obviously, there's going to be a cost to going to those, but it's it's people want to shop local. So you go in, you're going to put your name out in front of a bunch of people. You will make some sales. So yeah, that's a good point as well.
Bring your machine, run it. Right. One, because then you can turn a product out on demand. If you do something customized, right, you don't have to go back, take the order and ship it. Right. Which is going to remove a resistance point. Mm-hmm. And local shows, one, it's super fun to watch a machine run. Right. For those of you that met Melco at a trade show, right, machines are running. It's a cool thing to walk up and see. There's just something fun about an embroidery machine. And so it's going to start questions and get people who weren't aware of what can be done at a local show done as well.
Mm-hmm. Direct-to-garment printers are fun to see live.
Yes, they are. Yeah, the printing of a T-shirt.
Yeah.
And they're portable.
Right there.
Yeah. But you're right, absolutely. Like John, as long as I've known you, you've always said like the ability to print on demand, and embroider on demand is changing, so many industries. So pretty cool.
Yeah, the ability to do one-off custom stuff now is more viable now than ever, and it's what customers are grown to expect. People don't care. There's how many colors do I have to pay for in that screen print that I don't know anything about? I just want this shirt. Make it for me. That's how it's got to be. Mike D has a good question. Is there any good online how to market on social media training you would suggest, or where do you find info on that?
How'd you learn?
I went to school for it.
Okay, so if I can't afford to go to school for it.
Right. No, so, I would not suggest going to college just to learn how to do social media marketing. But there are a lot of programs out there, whether they're just a quick certification. LinkedIn is a really good tool. They now have like an online course program that kind of goes through, they've got Facebook, Instagram, Google, anything that you could want. I think it's a low monthly payment, but you can go on there and pretty much learn anything that you could think of as far as marketing goes. It's the other portion of it, I know that Social Media Examiner has a couple of things that they recommend as well. And I don't know that Marketing Brew does, but
they have, actually to that point. So if you don't get like the Daily Brew, it's a super huge popular newsletter with all the news in it, emailed every day. And they've got a bunch of different things now. One of them is Marketing Brew, which Lena mentioned earlier. We both are subscribed to it. Marketing Brew is super cool because it has all the different, it kind of an overview of what's going on in the industry of marketing. And some of it's really big, high level brand stuff. But they have virtual trainings and certifications that you can do. I think it's $199 for the most recent one. That's a super cool idea too.
And check out like AMA, American Marketing Association. They have some courses and some certifications that you can do. That's super helpful. But programs like that, they'll be able to at least lead you in the right direction if you're looking for something locally too.
Yep.
Yeah, Mylise, that sort of answers your question. Hi, Mylise, by the way. Nice to see you're here. That sort of answers her question, but maybe we can draw on it a little bit further. She was like, we're talking about social media a lot. We were trying to get this topic here, but any other strategies other than social media and friends? And then we'll follow up with the question before that, right after you guys kind of elaborate on Mylise's question.
Yeah, let's pivot a little bit. So social media is a great thing, right? And the beauty of it is it's relatively free, which is why so many brands start there. And of course, the engagement. There's a couple other things that are super critical, right? Referral business is huge. There's no better advertisement than a customer that's satisfied. And so I think you mentioned earlier reviews. But reviews are a big part of this. So asking people to, send a follow-up email to someone after they've purchased a product saying like, hey, if you love what I've done, if you could do me a favor, right? Asking people for a favor helps to, subconsciously kind of put them towards the idea of doing what you're about to ask for. And give them a link right to your page on Google and ask for a review. And explain, my business grows, lives and dies on word of mouth, and it would mean so much to me if you would honor me with a review. And building the reviews, I think like when I travel, I'm looking for a new place to eat. Right? I go on Yelp and the first thing I do is look at reviews, right? Because I figure that if a bunch of other people give this thing 4.5 stars, 5 stars, it can't be bad. So get reviews. It also helps your organic search traffic to your website. And that's critical. So reviews, word of mouth, big part of it.
Yep. And I would also say, if you're not necessarily wanting to be, super digital with your marketing efforts, local shows are huge. Local networking events, that have people in your target audience that would probably attend those events.
Join the Chamber of Commerce.
I was gonna say Chamber of Commerce is huge because they will help you market yourself. There's probably going to be a lot of other local resources depending on where you live that you can take advantage of. And I wouldn't say door to door, but if there's a career event or, something going on at the school, it never hurts to stop in and see who you can talk to see if you can help make the basketball jerseys for your local team. It's really just getting out there and talking to people that would, help you market yourself. And there's probably going to be a lot of other local resources depending on where you live that you can take advantage of. That would benefit from what you're doing.
Yeah. And then on your, the other piece, this is email marketing, right? And email marketing is really important. The first part of that, of course, is building a list. And so you have to be intentional to build an email list. And you have to give people a reason to want to hear from you. People that aren't just like, hey, I'd love more junk mail in my inbox. Super cool. Most of us, that's something we kind of are against. And so give people a reason to want to hear from you. So whether it's a discount code on their first order, if they give you their email address, or it's the promise of a funny joke every week, whatever your spin on it is, like tell them up front why they want to hear from you. And then do them the favor of good content when you reach out to them. So whether it's something relevant, reminding them that, you've just gotten in, new Letterman jacket, and it's about back to school time. It's, hey, they're available. Give me a call. We can talk about it. Whatever it is, always give them a call to action in that email marketing. And then use a good email marketing platform, right? They're not expensive. Klaviyo is probably one of the hottest in the industry right now. It's Klavio. And so if you're not, if you've got a Shopify shop or a BigCommerce site, I really recommend taking a look at Klaviyo, because what's really cool about it is it will actually, they can add your products into emails super easy. Your emails will look very professional. The templates are great, and it's really inexpensive. And then the other one that's really popular right now, which is kind of funny, is SMS marketing, right? So being able to send text messages with, hey, this is happening, those kind of things. That is also very inexpensive and a great way to communicate with your customers.
What about MailChimp? I hear a lot about MailChimp.
Yep. MailChimp is a big Klaviyo competitor, and they were really big a few years ago. It's a great platform too. Okay. So one of the really cool things MailChimp does is they now give you the ability to actually mail things to people, right? Which might seem like something that's not not as popular anymore, but physical mailings have become really good. So if you have a good, VIP section of your customer database that, they're good customers, either mailing them offers, exclusive coupons, or the other one that can be that seems really successful is giving them something to refer to someone else. Right. So some kind of a promotional offer. The general rule in customer acquisition is you need to be willing to lose some money to gain a new customer. But it's got to be controllable in a way that you can monetize the next one. Right. So what you don't want to do is underbid that first hat job. Right. And then the next time they come back, you're trying to raise your prices up on them. So make it very clear it's kind of that offer to win their business. Right. Think about like the meal prep industry. Like if you get meals delivered at home. Right, you get an offer that gives you a discount over X number of meals, and then it's done and over, and you can't really use that same coupon code again. Right, so it's an understanding that I'm getting a value, and then gradually the price is going up. And I think that's a big thing when it comes to discounts and pricing.
Kristen asked, what platform would you recommend for SMS marketing?
So Klaviyo has it built into theirs, right, which is really successful. That would probably be the place if I were doing it, I would put those two together just because it's email and SMS and it's clean and concise, and it all sits in the same platform. The Attentive is another one that gets a lot of traction. They tend to be a bit larger though. So MailChimp also is now, I think they've been playing with SMS a little bit.
There's one that starts with an S, and I can't remember the name of it.
It's
very small.
Yeah, if you Google a quick SMS marketing will give you vendors. The problem with a lot of them is going to be how big. That's why Klaviyo is so attractive. You can start doing SMS marketing with 15 phone numbers if you wanted to, and it'll cost you a couple bucks a month.
Takeaway here is Klaviyo's good.
Klaviyo is super good.
It is great.
It is growing like crazy. So if you're looking for an email and SMS marketing platform, I highly recommend them. The other thing I think it's super cool is, and actually so many businesses aren't doing this, which kind of blows my mind, is abandoned cart. Abandoned cart emails off your website are a huge part of winning customers.
We need to do that.
Abandoned cart's big. Yep. So, because a lot of times what will happen is, the way I shop, I think a lot of people do is they'll put things in cart as a list, right? I think about this, might want it, I get distracted, and that email brings them back. Now, up to you whether or not you run a discount in the first, second, or maybe none of those emails. Test that, play with it, try it, and see what works for your business.
Piccolini has a question. This might be a little opportunity for you guys to make a little extra cheddar on the side. Do you offer marketing coaching? And I'm assuming the answer is no, but where can she go to get some if not?
We don't. Yeah, we do things like this though, where we kind of talk through it. It's really hard to find a marketing consultant, right, that you can trust. And I know it's especially if your business is a little bit more established, kind of talking to, our customers that, might have really an established book of business, feeling it's time to start outsourcing marketing, right? And there's part of the problem with marketing, I'll say it as a marketer, right, is that it's really easy to come in, use a bunch of acronyms and, make people feel like marketing is this big, scary black box that you don't, you're not qualified to do. And so therefore you bring some expert in. Right. Marketing is really pretty simple. It is, at the end of the day, it's figuring out the unique reason that a customer would want to buy from you or that they would need your services and highlighting that. As far as finding a coach, one of the things I think is really cool about our industry is that there's so many people with tons of experience that are willing to mentor someone that's newer. Mm-hmm. And so I would encourage you to try to find a mentor for your business, first and foremost. Probably not the competitor down the street, most likely, but finding someone that can kind of come alongside you and, if you can build a group of people who you can compare things that you're working, maybe from different markets. And so, this is where industry shows are so important because it gives you an opportunity to meet people from around the country that you might not have otherwise gotten to meet. So what that'll let you do is if you find maybe let's say your thing is school business, to use that example, and then there's someone on the other side of the country that's also in a school business, right? You're not going to compete with each other. And so the two of you can talk about, hey, what's working, what new products are popular, what are you seeing for trends? You can talk about, it's HR things, right? How do you find new employees? How do you recruit, right? You can have that business coach or, that peer, and having a peer group that meets regularly is a big part too.
And Samantha made a really good point that the Chamber of Commerce also is really a good resource for pairing mentors.
For sure.
Again, your local Chamber of Commerce is a huge resource tool for you, whether that's marketing, just getting out there in the community, finding a mentor. Definitely recommend getting involved with them. And I want to just touch on something that Mike said earlier is I would suggest making great examples of what you offer. Absolutely. If you're going to be going to any type of, local show, networking event, whatever that might be, take some samples with you. People love visualizing what you can make. And if you can show them the quality of your work, I mean, you're a lot more likely to get them in.
Yeah. Yeah. Our buddy Josh always talks about take a mug, right? And use a heat press and put that business's logo on it, put your cards inside of it with a pin and go drop it off at their door. If you really want that business, show them the quality of what you can do, take the initiative, make sure you get your name in front of them. I think that in a, tactful, smaller way, right? You don't want to blast every business in town with a mug. That's a great way to try to gain some business too.
Yeah.
So, and Samantha, yes, thank you. The Chamber of Commerce, it's a great spot for pairing mentors. Also a lot of local colleges that have entrepreneurship programs have coaches, and often those coaches are maybe other people that are, they're typically more senior in their career. They're maybe partially retired, and sometimes they'll be willing to come along as a coach for a small cost as well. Mm-hmm. So, good question.
Yeah, right. Mike also asked promoting your business on Nextdoor. Any insight on Nextdoor?
I don't necessarily have a whole lot on Nextdoor.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it doesn't hurt to put your name out there on as many platforms and places as possible. Mm-hmm. Yelp is a huge one. Google's a big one.
Yeah.
I think that those are two of the, the most searched places.
For sure.
But I do know that Nextdoor, obviously they market to the local community. So I don't think it would hurt. I definitely don't have the expertise on that though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a customer that talked to us at one of the trade shows actually we were at, and they talked about how they gained a lot of business. And what they said was, just going back to your point about Josh's making mugs, found the businesses that they were most inspired by and excited about in their community that they wanted to work with.
Yeah.
And I think if you show enthusiasm for look at this, just jumped up.
So show the most enthusiasm. Come on.
Yeah. It's super cute. Okay. But if you show enthusiasm for a company, they're going to likely show enthusiasm back for you. So if you go up and you show up with something because you like their company and you've made something great, and you're like, hey, I want to do this stuff for you. I love what you guys are doing. They're likely going to reciprocate. And
Yep.
I was really impressed by that customer and how they grew their business doing that almost exclusively.
And sometimes cross-promoting items is also a big thing. Especially, for example, on social media, if you're working with a company down the road that you're embroidering their items, you can also cross-promote their business on your social media page by showing the items that you embroidered for them or screen printed for them. And they might do the same back to you. So, networking is just in that sense, and utilizing your resources and your customers is huge.
Samantha said she has a big bag that is heavily embroidered and people always comment on it. I read it as I have a Big Mac that is heavily embroidered, and I think that's because I'm hungry. And I'm like, why are you embroidering a Big Mac? But the big bag, yeah, that's awesome. You have a big, exciting bag. Someone at OESD, Carrie has like an awesome jacket that she embroidered, has little things all over it. And I think that starts a lot of conversations.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing is, business can be in some places where you don't think it is, right? So sometimes part of growing your business is helping someone else grow their business. Mm-hmm. So, if there's businesses and brands in your town that you think have potential, like people love that brand and would be interested in buying the merchandise. For example, there's this really good ice cream place here that they take fresh baked cookies and they put ice cream in the middle of it. And they put the whole thing in like a heat press and they make a basically like an ice cream cookie while we're on the food, right? Like,
and somehow the ice cream stays cold.
Anyway,
I don't know how it happens.
They have a great brand, right? Like they need to be putting that on shirts and hats, and like I totally walk around wearing one of their shirts. Mm-hmm. Or like the other one, my local gym has a rabid following and they sell shirts all the time. And it's the local shirt company kind of helping them come up with what goes on that shirt. They're more experts in working out than they are in shirt design, but that shirt company's helping them. And that's been a nice source of revenue for the gym to just keep selling shirts and tank tops and hats with their brand on it.
Totally. So going back to us being creative people.
Yes.
Create things. We probably started in this business because we thought, I'd like to make that for my daughter's birthday. Wait, why would I pay somebody else to do it? I want to do it myself. Mm-hmm. Right. And so if you have these customers that are open to those unique creative ideas, pitch a one-page little layout mock-up catalog type thing.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Go up to them and say, hey, here's some ideas I had for, like there's a doggy daycare here called Bark. And we had a customer that pitched all this stuff to him. Bark's like, I love it. Let's do it all. I want the shirts. I want the hat. Nice. I want the, just by pitching those ideas and putting them little mock-ups on. Yeah.
Cool. Good idea.
Love it.
I want to mention there's a couple tools that Melco makes that are really cool. So one of the things we have is we have a tool that can help you have your customers visualize what customized products will look like on your website. So you have a good website business and you need help with, often the visualization is a challenge. Definitely reach out to our sales team. We can talk with you about that product. And then if you do like for example, Build-A-Bear, right? They do a lot of where somebody wants to come in and just put their name on it. We have a product that can actually automate the creation of those, within the customer can pick the font, pick the color, put the name in, and then we can actually auto digitize using our algorithms and send you the production file. So those are really cool resources. We keep working on trying to make those more and more accessible to everyone, kind of depending on where their business is. But if you're not using that and that's interesting to you, definitely reach out to us as well.
Yeah, reach out, talk to Mike Doe. He's the expert on that too.
For sure.
We have a lot of companies that are utilizing that technology, and it's
pretty cool.
It's very cool, and it's affordable.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've got time for one or two more questions here.
Yeah, we have 15 minutes. This is what I like to call the lightning round, where we're just going to fire off a bunch of questions, quick answers.
Okay, go.
You guys down? All right. What are some common tools or resources that we haven't discussed that I should know about?
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Okay, quick. Let's go quick.
Gotta know.
Set up Google Analytics on your website. You can understand where your traffic comes from.
Yeah.
You got to know that's money right
Get
there
certified in analytics too through Google
for
right?
free.
Right.
Yep.
For free.
That's a good one.
If you're doing email marketing, use UTM codes, UTM tracking, so that you can see where your clicks are coming from, to see what's working, what's not.
Use a landing page generation tool if you need for form contact. Like, so whether it's something as simple as JotForm, right, an easy way to capture information and get it into a spreadsheet format, or something as complicated as Unbounce, but some kind of a quick, easy way to get customer information as fast as possible and get them out the door. Another one that's really big is Google Voice phone numbers, right? So Google Voice phone numbers, you can actually take, so part of a Google Ads account is you can set up a Google Voice account, and then you can put out specific phone numbers, and then you can actually see the volume through those numbers, right? And it'll forward right into your main number. But what it lets you do is figure out attribution. So if you send out a mailer and you put that phone number on it, you can attribute, okay, the calls that came from this, I know this piece of marketing worked. So Google Voice is a really good trick too.
Sweet. If you think of any as we progress, throw them back at us a little bit later. Another question.
Cool. Next.
Not really a marketing question, but it is, Larry. How do you are the Melco machines portable? And what should I do on-site decoration? I think we all know the answer to this, but lay it on them, Lena.
Yes, they are portable. They actually make the machine pretty easy to separate from the cart that it's on.
Yep.
So you can take the cart off, and the cart's on wheels, which is great. So you can take the top part of the machine off. You can stick it in your car. Well, it'd be better to have a bigger SUV because it is kind of big.
Yep.
But you can put that, in your car, and then you can put the cart in your car, and then you just put it back on there, and you wheel it into the show.
Standard doorways.
Yep. It's your standard doorways.
Intentionally. So yes, Larry, get it out there. Start doing stuff on site. Encouraged.
Yes, highly.
Next question. I like this one because nobody knows the answer. How much should I spend on marketing?
Yes.
Oh, come on. All right, let's give some guidelines.
Yeah. So it really just depends on your budget. So if utilize your free resources first, but if you want to do some kind of social media advertising, $30 can go a long way. It really just depends on how much you want to reach your target audience, and how long you want to run an ad for. So, if you just have a quick promotion that's going up, or you have, a grand opening for your store and it's happening in 2 days, you can actually see on Facebook, and they can help guide you how many people based on your area and your geo-targeting you're going to be able to reach with that ad with the amount of money that you're spending. So really you can do it starting out cheap. I don't know if you want to.
I'll give a couple metrics. You should spend somewhere between 3 and 10% of your company's revenue on marketing, whatever that is, right? If it's paid search, Facebook ads, so on. But 3 to 10% reinvest in your marketing to continue to grow. Most businesses are closer to 5 to 10. And then cost of acquisition, right? So how much am I going to spend to get a new customer? 30 to 50% is probably a minimum of what you should expend per sale. So if your sale is $10, expect to spend $3 to $5 to get that sale. Many businesses will go to 100% cost of acquisition. So $10 sale cost them $10 to get, because what they're gambling and betting on is they can get that customer again, and that repeat business will be much less expensive. So find the metric you're comfortable. Obviously margins are great in our industry. Be willing to not make money on the first sale, but like we talked about earlier on the meal prep thing, have a plan to get profitable with that customer.
So after spending this money, what would you expect to be a good result for the campaign? What would be some numbers you'd be happy with seeing?
Are we talking conversion rate?
Conversion rate, yeah.
Most e-commerce websites convert somewhere between 2 and 5% of total traffic. So if you're
low, but that's right.
Yeah, that is super. I mean, 2 to 3 is really the average for most businesses. So I know that sounds like terrible, but that is really a good number. That's kind of where you expect yourself to be. And then just monitor, try to monitor that cost of acquisition the best you can. Look at what you're spending versus what you're getting in revenue from it, and make sure that it's making sense. Don't again, and we didn't really talk about this, but I'll just talk briefly about Google Ads because there's a couple common mistakes we see in Google Ads. One is not understanding the difference between broad, phrase, and exact match modifiers. If you put a let's say your ad word is embroidery, right? Which best of luck to you if it is. If you're bidding on the word embroidery, you're going to spend a lot of money really quickly and not get anything for it. So bid on what we call a long tail keyword. Your local town's name, embroidered jersey, right? Or Letterman's jackets and the schools. Bid for the words that are not going to give you as much traffic, but they're going to give you high intent, right? The customer that's looking for it is looking for it. Also, be very careful. You're going to want to start your ads with exact match. An exact match means the phrase that you've put in as your search term is the phrase that the customer typed in. Then just to get technical, your phrase match modifier is basically if that is inside this search query. And then broad, here's an example, right? Hand embroidery matches a broad match modifier. Broken embroidery machine matches a broad, you don't want that traffic. That traffic doesn't have an intention to convert.
Mhm.
So just be very careful on your paid search, start small, and also be very careful about letting Google try to optimize for you, because Google's business is to get you to spend money. And so they will optimize to help you spend more money versus conversion.
So Milese has a question.
Yep.
How has paid social media marketing worked for us? Meaning, I'd say Melco and OESD, and talk about the difference between the two businesses and how social media marketing has worked for them.
So that's a good question. We actually just started social media marketing as far as paid social media marketing. We were not doing any of that previously. So we started probably about 3 months ago, around there.
Yep.
And we've actually had a great return on it. So we, as Jordan mentioned, that 3 to 10%. So we're sitting at about 3% and on the rate of return. So, we spend, I'm just gonna have to
Probably not worth saying.
Yeah, no, but
We spend a lot.
we do spend a lot. Not as much on social media marketing. So we have a lower budget for that because we do use Google paid search quite a bit. But it definitely has worked really well with our leads that we've gotten in return.
Yeah, to that, most businesses, right? I mean, businesses selling you advertising are in the business of getting your money, right? And if you've searched on Google recently, you realize that it's ads, it's product listings, and then it's organic website results all the way at the bottom of the first page now, right? They're in the business of making money. Same thing in social media, right? More and more content, if you want to reach your full, reach, you have to pay for it. So I think it's become very important for us. Our mix is about 50% of our marketing spend goes to paid search. Trade shows a big part of it, of course. Social media is a smaller spend, and mainly because social media is one of the hardest marketing channels to attribute, right? We see a lot of things on social media. We don't necessarily click on it. And so it can be a challenge to kind of relate that spend turned into sales, which is what we're all trying to do.
Mhm.
But I think like many of you, it's still a learning thing for us. We're constantly learning every day, learning what works, what doesn't work, testing it, making fools of ourselves sometimes on social media. That's part of the fun. But we're having fun with it, and we're learning and growing every day.
Milese wants to know also what's a reasonable time frame on some of these expected results and numbers.
Good question. So that is kind of part of your marketing basics, is understanding what your typical time to convert is, and then what's your customer life cycle. So, from the day they first reach out, how long does it normally take from first inquiry to sale close? And you kind of figure out what that average is. And then the second thing is you start looking at is how often does this customer purchase, right? Is this a seasonal thing? Is this a once a year thing? Or is my business, I sell one time and I never see them again? If your business is heavily like local trade shows and craft shows, you may only see a customer one time. If your business is school, it can be very seasonal. If your business is, supplying uniforms for, a local business, it could be quite frequent. And part of that is watching for changes in that frequency. If you have big customers that buy from you frequently, watch. And if you haven't seen them in a little bit, it might be time to reach out. Don't just expect that someone isn't trying to then market for your dollars as well.
Yep.
So,
it's kind of an answer, non-answer. Sorry, Marlise.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. Is it worth it to find and work with influencers? business?
Well, I mean, for us, it's obviously it's been a big one, right? Many of you, know we have a great relationship with a,
Highly talented Angelina Jasmine.
exactly, who's a huge YouTube personality. And that's great. And she's wonderful. She does a great job representing our brand and our product and showing our customers the potential to be successful in this industry. So, she found us. We didn't really go after her, and we're super thankful for it, because she's a great partner. There's a lot of other people also that are maybe, let's say, less well known that love Melco and share and talk about it.
Yeah.
I think influencers are great. I think more realistic and just as important, maybe even more important, is really satisfied customers who represent and talk about you and share that word of mouth. So I wouldn't say start swinging for the fences. We're not all going to find the next celebrity to wear our product. But if you just make sure taking care of your customers every single day and letting them know how much it means to you when they talk about your business, that's really where you're going to see your business grow.
Yeah, I would say one thing to that is encourage them through incentives to talk about you on their platforms. And everybody's involved. Well, not everybody. A lot of people are involved one way or another on some sort of social platform.
Yep.
If you encourage that, and then also engage in when your customers are talking about you, get back involved in that conversation with them.
Yeah.
People like to hear from Krusty's. Okay, real quick. Krusty's brownies, they made like the best box brownies I ever had in my life. And I went on Facebook and I was like, these are what brownies should taste like. They are amazing. They're like, that is so awesome that you wrote, we love to hear that. That's what and I'm like, yes, Krusty's. Anyway, it's fun to get involved both ways. It's fun to get involved, I think, and people like to hear that you're engaging with them too.
Yeah. And again, for us, I think we're just super grateful that we have so many customers that are such big fans of Melco.
Yeah.
There's not many products that have as loyal and as, just open as a customer base as Melco has.
Yeah.
And so, we really feel like, yes, you're our customers. And, sorry, Angie. Yes, you're our customers, right? And we exist because you buy our stuff. But at the same time, we feel like there's a partnership here. You help us make our products better. You help us, by, you're growing this industry every day. You make it bigger and better. And so we're just really thankful that you all care as much and love the Melco brand as much as we do, because we are super. Our company bleeds Melco, and we're just so thankful that so many of you do too. And sorry, I laughed early because Angie said, Johnny, you need to eat some lunch. Apparently.
Yeah, I got Krusty's on my mind, Big Macs. I mean, what's going on? Seriously. Maddie, I just want to address what Maddie said. Angela is who got me into Melco so much that I've recently become a tech and trainer. And that goes back to what you're saying, like the loyalty in the brand, is exciting. And I would say I encourage all of you to reach out to us, to engage in our social, and we'll do the same with you because it's fun. We're all in this together. We're all just here to make cool stuff and make money and have fun doing it.
Totally.
Yeah, be sure to tag us. We share your stuff. So make sure that you tag us on social media. And if you have any other marketing questions that we didn't get to, we didn't cover, you didn't get a chance to ask, please, reach out to us on any of our social media channels. Give us a call. We can help you out. And right now we are running an EMT 16X back to school promo. So
look at you joining the sales team.
But if you guys are interested in becoming part of this Melco team and part of our family, then reach out to our sales reps. They'd love to get you more information on that. We also have a great upgrade DSV 11 promo right now. So if you want to get into that digitizing software or upgrade your level, reach out to the sales team. So
and Roland just released the VG3, which is that new awesome printer cutter, super fast, lots of colors, a lot of new features. It's going to make a great addition to your embroidery business because this is exciting. We're going to be showing this at a show coming up, and we have some videos on this, but you can print directly on transfer material, put it on your whatever you're going to embroider, and then applique stitch it. And it really opens up a lot of unique opportunities, but you can make stickers and banners, all that fun stuff. And then of course, direct to garment, some incentives on that now too. But I like Tamisha's comment. How about that? The Bugatti of embroidery.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'll wrap up kind of with one thought. The world of marketing is huge, right? And it can sometimes be paralyzing at how much different stuff there is. So my encouragement is pick one thing that you're going to focus on for the next 90 days and make that the thing that you invest in. And then 90 days from now, add one more thing once you got that other thing under control, and just kind of keep growing it that way. Don't just go crazy and try to do it all at once. That sets us up for failure. So do one thing, and then also don't be afraid of failure. We trip and fall all the time. It's part of doing business, right? It's part of learning. So failure in marketing, or making mistakes doesn't mean the end of the road. It just means lessons learned. I remember one of my first mistakes as a marketer. Over the course of a weekend, I set something up incorrectly and I spent $10,000 on ads that drove $1 in sales. This was early on in my career. It was that was a fun weekend to come in and explain that one to my boss. But it's a lesson I learned and I'll never forget. And for me, as I work with younger marketers, I always, they make a mistake and I always tell them, you've never gotten to my level of mistake yet.
Yeah.
So just, be understanding marketing. It's a bit of an enigma for kind of part of the fun of it. So anyway, thank you so much for joining. Please do reach out. John, go get some food, buddy.
Yeah, go get some lunch.
Lunchtime. I'm out.
All right.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye,
Thanks.
everyone.